In the Factor follow-up segment tonight, the Fast and Furious gun-running scandal reaching a boiling point this week for Team Obama. Remember, U.S. border agent Brian Terry was killed over 2 years ago with guns that the U.S. government lost track of after purposely selling them to Mexican drug cartels. Holder refused to turn over specific documents about the botched program to investigators, and now he faces a contempt vote in Congress this week. Meantime, President Obama asserted executive privilege over the documents, keeping them secret, which some Republicans object to.
The Supreme Court has held pretty clearly there cannot be executive privilege over criminal cover-up or cover-up of a crime. Lying to Congress is a crime. We have every right to see documents to say, did you know, when did you know, what did you know, including even the president.
Well, a new poll by the Hill newspaper found that 56% of voters disapproved of the president's invoking executive privilege, while only 29% approved. So how much damage is the Obama administration suffering from this growing scandal? With me now is Marjorie Clifton. She's a former Obama campaign consultant. All right, Margie, it can't be good during an election year for the president to have his chief law enforcement officer, as he once referred to the Attorney General, the nation's chief law enforcement officer, under this cloud of suspicion. Now a contempt vote likely this week.
Well, I mean, and I truly think on all fronts, this is ISA playing politics. I mean, this is a campaign stunt if we've ever seen one. We've seen renditions of this before in the past, but really what's happening, and truly in terms of how they're representing it in the press, Eric Holder withholding information, he's testified 9 times. He's actually released thousands and thousands of documents outlining everything that they found in terms of their, well, I mean, that's what actually ICE's office.
That's what his office is telling you to say, maybe. No, I'm just teasing. But no, look, you're right. They did turn over a lot of documents. You're right about that, about 8,000, 7,600. Right. However, what is interesting to the committee now are the documents after February.
Right.
February of 2011, because why? They changed their story. They said at first they didn't know the extent of the operation. Then they withdrew that letter. And I think they want to know, like, why was that letter withdrawn, and who perhaps directed Eric Holder to say what he said at the time? Isn't that an obligation of Congress to make sure the Attorney General is not lying?
Yeah, well, and I would say Holder himself said the entire situation was appalling and shut it down when they knew. And this was a little bit of this, you know, the government, the left hand not talking to the right hand. What was actually happening was this entire operation was being run out of Phoenix by an ATF officer there, coincidentally, which also ran 3 of the same operations as the Bush administration that was running.
Which were discontinued, as you know.
Right, but as was this one.
That's a big, I'm not saying you're lying, but there was a big myth out there. Well, the Bush administration started Fast and Furious. That is not true.
No, they were separate operations, but of the same nature. And so this isn't something that's a new concept. Now, how is being managed? Absolutely, we can argue, was it managed well, was it? He thought it was appalling. But what they have is no documentation whatsoever that says that Holder even knew of the operation at all.
So, but I agree with you. They don't have that. But if Holder doesn't have anything to hide, then why the late invocation of executive privilege, which is a little odd to invoke privilege over the Department of Justice's letters and memos,
the executive privilege
doesn't often happen that way.
It came with how the investigation's been handled, because, as I said, Holder has testified 9 separate times. He released over 7,000 documents that were asked for, and in this instance, before they decided to go for contempt, he even came to ICE's office, said, look, I'll present you with any of the documents that you want, but what I need from you is basically a notice, a treaty, you know, a truce to say we're done with this, you're not going to hold me in contempt.
But you think it's important that he's not lying to Congress, right? If he's lying to Congress, you think that's serious,
absolutely, absolutely. But I think the point is that there's no reason that he would be, and what I don't understand is
then why isn't he handing over the documents? If he has nothing to hide, then why not just hand over the, you know, ICE reviewed these wiretap affidavits and found out that Lanny Brewer, who's one of the top officials at the Justice Department, actually did sign off on the gun walking tactics. That's in contradiction to what Eric Holder had said before. That's a serious contradiction.
Well, and he again revoked the letter because I think, again, this is, you know, we know government, we work in Washington, D.C. It isn't always handled smoothly, and that's why they came out.
What would you grade Holder? What kind of a grade would you give him?
No, I would not dare grade anyone in Washington. What people want to say about him or not.
But from Texas. I don't believe that gets a good grade from
we just say, bless their heart.
Yeah, bless their heart. God bless them. Great to see you, Monica. We'll see how this all plays out. Coming up.